to. So in the last 96 hours, here's what's happened to the police officers who, broadly speaking, have been maligned as racist and part of a systemically discriminatory system. A Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officer shot in the back of the head, struggling with a rioter. An active shooter opened fire on law enforcement at a Las Vegas courthouse. 4 St. Louis police officers were shot by an active shooter. A New York police officer was struck by a vehicle. 3 Buffalo law enforcement officers were struck by a vehicle in front of a police station. 3 Davenport law enforcement officers were ambushed and 1 was shot. 132 officers were injured in Chicago during a riot. 9 Pittsburgh officers were injured by objects during a riot. Several officers in Rhode Island were injured during riots. An active shooter opened fire at the Oakland Police Department. 2 officers were struck in the head with projectiles in Santa Ana. 2 Richland officers were struck in Virginia. 1 officer was struck in the head by a brick in Albany. 4 Prince William County police officers sustained head injuries from projectiles. 7 officers injured in Sacramento. Several officers shot at and injured in Lynchburg. Several Champaign police officers injured. 3 Oak Law police officers injured. 21 officers injured in Salt Lake City. At least 50 Secret Service agents injured by Molotov cocktails in Washington. 3 Denver police officers run over by vehicle. 33 New York police officers injured during riots. 6 Athens police officers injured during a protest. 2 Capitol police officers injured during a riot in Harrisburg. 12 Las Vegas Metropolitan police officers injured during riots. 21 Minneapolis law enforcement officers injured in riots. 1 Federal Protective Services officer shot and killed. Okay, so is that worthy of mention? Like any of that? Any of that? Or are we all supposed to just act as though none of this has ever happened? Or none of this is happening? The police officers who are on the streets are being abandoned by a lot of the political class. Again, in defense of the broader narrative, which is that police departments across the country are systemically racist because America is systemically racist, and thus all Americans are somehow guilty for the death of George Floyd, about which 99.99% of Americans agree that the officer who did that should go to jail. And we're going to get to the Sergeants Benevolence Association. They put out a statement that is pretty astonishing yesterday in response to the abandonment of the police force by Bill de Blasio, who's just a disgrace. We'll get to that